Alright guys, it's Chris. Welcome to VHB Engines. Okay, so I have some shit I want to say, but I'm going to leave it at the end of the video because it's for my notification squad. And if you're just happening to stumble across this video, I guess it doesn't really pertain too much about the topic at hand. So, topic at hand being, I think we need to start being a little bit, sorry, fucking chair scooting. I think we need to start being a little bit more careful about what we say is impossible or what we say we know can't happen anymore as far as it comes to fucking Hondas and the things that they're doing to people out there, especially if it involves K's. I'm not a disbeliever anymore. I mean, like, I think fucking Four Piston like opened a door for me, like stumbled across that information there last year and opened up to a lot of shit that I didn't know know was possible, didn't know the people were out there doing. And then recently, you know, watching Humble Performance and watching what happened at World Cup finals and everything, it's just like, holy shit, man. Like, the things that I would have laughed at people and ridiculed people for saying like a year ago, now I'm on the other side going, nah, fam, that's real, that's legit. As a matter of fact, I just got a call from a friend, Lopez. By some chance, if you're watching, I talk about you. And he's got a friend that has like a newer Civic Si, and he has also a G37 or some shit. And he was thinking about getting rid of his K-equipped Civic Si, and working on the G37 for mods. Now, my homeboy Alex doesn't have a Honda, but he respects what they can do, and he does have like a Mazda Speed 6, I do believe. And he's making like 350 wheel, and of course he stomped all over that G37. And dude was talking about getting rid of the SI to invest more in the G37 to make it faster. And then of course Lopez, knowing what he knows about Honda, was like, nah, man, I think if you want to really invest in a car to make fast, you're gonna invest in that Honda that you got and let the G go. And I, of course, then he called me up, and I was like, yeah, I agree with him. I was like, you got fucking K20s out here doing 500 wheel horsepower, just turbos. I'm not saying they last for a million years like that, but there's there's a lot of stock block K20s out there just fucking putting in murder work at 500 wheel horsepower. It's just what it is. And then of course I threw in, fucking these guys are out here running 9s all motor, and it's I would have never believed it, but it's happening, and it's happening a lot. A lot of people are doing it. So anyway, what triggered this is I've been watching more YouTube videos about cars recently. Which I know it seems maybe like it's kind of weird, but I told you, man, I burned out myself on watching car videos for a long time on YouTube. I just didn't want to see the same shit anymore, so I stopped. Started watching again, so now I'm starting to get them more than just MMA in my suggested videos. And so I watched this one, and then I didn't even realize whose it was. All I saw was the thumbnail. It was like 350 wheel horsepower Cobalt versus K20 Civic, and it doesn't say the horsepower and numbers in there for the Civic, but I watched it. And sure as shit, here it is. Kenny pops up in the fucking video, and he's talking shit about the one of his homeboys, which owns the 350 wheel horsepower Cobalt. And then it wasn't until the very end of the fucking video that I realized whose video it was. Another name I heard through Honda vlogs, and it's Vasily Garage. And so hey, I saw this guy's car now. I know what he drives. So I watched the whole video, even though like people were ridiculing in the comments about it being like a overly long video because they came to see a race and there was a shit talking in the beginning in like 9 minutes or 8 minutes of driving. Personally, I appreciated seeing the car and the setup and just the regular cruise. It was appealing to me, so I wasn't upset or bored. And when it finally came down to the race, I was not upset. I was fucking entertained. Like, all right, and I think the dude went, it was a dig. It went from 0 to a $110, and he fucking gapped the shit out of that fucking Cobalt. And the guys, the owner of the Cobalt and the guys that were his crew, were all very confident the Cobalt was going to win. I think it's because they knew that the K20 was stock, and apparently, well, in the description it's listed as 400 or 226 wheel horsepower, and in the comments Vasily said it was making 277. Honestly, the way that race went down, I wouldn't even be surprised if it was making the 226 and he put the gap on him like that. Just because the fact that you see 300 wheel horsepower fucking Civics out here like doing like really solid passes out there. So I wouldn't be surprised at all. Plus, then you got to think driver mod and all that stuff, which Kenny himself even pointed out at the beginning. I don't think that he has a driver mod, and if you're not used to digging, then it's gonna be a big problem to you. Especially and he was running NA versus boost, so worried about a turbo spooling up to make your power or whatnot, So yeah, 100% believed it. I had an SRT4. It was the boost was up and it had light bolt-ons. I never took it to a dyno to see what it was, but I'm fairly confident it was more than average for stock. I mean, maybe not no 300 wheel horsepower car, but definitely in the mid 200s. So the first race I ever lost was running against an NAK20 in an EG hatch, and I got murdered. So while the SRT4 was like one of the funnest cars I've ever owned, I can respect what these Ks are doing and how fast they are and the responsiveness. If you got a good driver in one of these cars, they can do a lot of damage. So anyway, just, I'm scrolling through the comments just to see what it is, because, people are, hey, nah, there's no way that's 350 horsepower, that car, all this shit. I'm like, I 100% believe it. And then going through some person's comments, the comment thread, in the thread for the one comments or replies, somebody's like, that's impossible. There's no way that, because Vasily said he was making 277 or 271 or some shit. He said it's impossible. You can't make that kind of horsepower with a K24 stock block. You got to build it to get there. And maybe I would have agreed with that. I mean, if somebody would have told me that, I wouldn't have laughed at it or ridiculed it, but I would have thought it would have been a stretch. 270 horsepower stock block, I would have considered it a stretch. But now, of course, because weeks ago I just seen Humble, do that stock K24A2 out of a TSX, and they made 271 horsepower off of it, and it was fuel. So I just, of course I commented that because the guy was like, and it was because it was a recent comment. I think he left it like a couple days ago or some shit, and he was just like, I can't do that. I was like, go see the fucking video, because he's like, my tuner said, well, is your tuner fucking Alex from Humble? Because your tuner's probably just some nobody that nobody's even heard of before, versus what these guys out here that are making the records are saying and doing. So yeah, that's just all I say. It's just like same thing, like where the K is the new thing now, and these new quarter mile times we're seeing is these insane times, and these fucking all these super fast cars out there, like you can't be so quick to ridicule things. I mean, like, there's some things that are, just obvious. Like, somebody's telling you they made 300 wheel horsepower NA on a D series, and yeah, that's still a laughable thing. You can laugh at that. And even if by some magical miracle something like that was even remotely possible, the time of that having ever happened is come and gone, because nobody's really fucking with that shit anymore. The platform, people are doing the cookie cutters that are building that, maybe using a D or B as their first build, and then scooting along into the K world. And like I said the other day on that video, it's getting cheaper and easier to to do that. So slowly but surely we're going to see K be the very dominant thing we see across the board on the market. Now, okay, so to get in what I wanted to say to the notification squad, you guys are my subscribers or whatnot. I know that it seems like VHV Engines is usually tech talk with some spackling of some work from engines or whatnot, whatever project I got going on at the time. So I find myself recently doing a lot of videos like these. Well, it's not really a lot per se, but when it's this frequent, and we got to think this is maybe like the third time I've done this, it's enough to be considerable, like seeing a shift here, a trend. And I'm not trying to use anybody's name here as clickbait. This isn't me trying to stretch a reach, because honestly, as far as my peers in the YouTube community, I don't really give a fuck about giving those people attention. I'm smaller than these guys, my shit's smaller than these guys. But at the same time, I already know that these guys already know who I am. I meet too many people that talk about me, who talk about the people that they've already talked to and know about me. And so it is what it is. So I'm not trying to use anybody's name as clickbait to get views. That's not what's happening here. And I'm not shifting my content. I'm not changing my content to be like a new type thing. As a matter of fact, for the rest of my time on YouTube, for however long it lasts, maybe forever, there is never going to be any shift. There's never going to be like, I'm going to do that. This is purposely what I'm doing. That's just not what I'm not really trying to do. I'm just really, at this way, I'm just kind of talking about whatever the fuck comes to mind. Like, I get excited about something, and I want to share it with you guys. So I talk to you guys about it. Because who the fuck else do I talk to about car parts except for one other person? And I don't even see him very often. My wife is the person I spend the most time with besides the guys at work. And those guys are all diesel dudes that don't give a shit about Hondas. And my wife doesn't give a shit about the car stuff either. So I talk to myself, you know, kind of by talking to you guys, so I get to have my communications about cars, and we go back and forth through comments or whatnot, and I enjoy all that. What was it? Oh yeah, a little bit of news info here. We're gonna hopefully, for one thing, for the K20, I'm gonna follow up with that tomorrow. Hopefully that swap will be out of the car tomorrow. If you followed on Instagram, you see that I kind of ran into an issue there. I didn't get out and started until late, and so I ran out of sunlight real quick, and so I stopped. And then I need to, as far as for the Integra, put some thought on everything I need to make that car run. I just need to put the fuel rail on it, plug in the rest of the harness to the chassis, put the distributor on it, put the starter on it, and it starts. Oh, charge the battery. So maybe I can do that through a jump start. So that car, at that point, I'm not going to say when it's going to be started. It's going to be started whenever I fucking decide to do that. It's not really much to it. I'm going to see if I can get myself out of bed on time, a decent time, to go to the junkyard and grab the bolts I need to actually bolt this shit on that's needed to be bolted on to start the car. So that's really what's holding me back at this point, is just bolts. I need a couple of bolts. All right, and so the last little piece of information would be, I think I may have found a new guy to take one of my projects. You know, now if you haven't been a long time follower, you remember when I first came down to Florida, I built a B18 block with YCP CTRs and Eagle rods, and I built that for Brian, a friend that lives in Orlando. He decided to go a different route. He went B20V, so be it. I fucking tried to sell the block. I can't even get it to sell for $800. I absolutely refuse to drop the price any lower than that. I've considered using it myself, but I'm burying myself in projects right now, so I cannot, realistically have any plans for this, because I got the K20. I'm finishing for the RSX, and I'm planning on building another K and a J afterwards. And I think so right now, was the most likely thing that happened after I finish the RSX is either going to be the J swap or a single cam, and might not even be either of those, because now I'm starting to stack money in the bank account, and I'm thinking I might just buy an EP3. So if I don't have one of my projects running before that happens, I will have scratched my manual transmission equipped daily by having the EP3, because I think I can get one of those within the next couple of months if I don't keep splurging my money on parts. So I went out to pick up a T-bracket from Shane, who's been following me for a while now, and when I met up with him, he was telling me about his project he's building. He's building a single cam, and he's going to stay NA with it and whatnot. And he told me, he just came across a conversation that he's like, well, I was at one point in time, I was thinking, just fuck it, just sell off the single cam and go B-Series. So I let him talk a little more, and I started thinking about it. I was like, well, what do you got for B-Series? I got a transmission. I was like, well, that's a big piece to have for a B-Series swap. I got a block. And if you don't mind not being VTEC, I've got a head I can give you too. So fucking just get some gaskets and I can give you a long block. So that seems to be what's going on right now. I told him we're friends on Instagram or whatnot, and I think Facebook and Snapchat. And I just told him, like, you start buying fucking parts for the fucking B-Series and let me see that you're buying them, that you're serious about doing this project. I will bring you this fucking long block. Of course, he's got to bolt the head on himself. So I was like, I'll bring the block, and there you go, and then you can have your NA high compression, and then he wants to spray it too, and I would very much like to see that. So that'd be great. So if everything works out here and Shane follows through, this could be guy number one for the sponsor team that I eventually want to have here. I haven't forgot about my plans in the Honda world down here, or the Honda world in general. I'm getting to that. I had a very rough year, for you guys that follow me. The YouTube channel dipped off pretty hardcore for a while. My growth stagnated almost to nothing. No new content really coming out for like 4 months. And then when I finally got my own place, I had to get settled back in the groove to making videos again. I had to figure out what I was going to do. The money still wasn't there. Money finally is getting right. I'm getting even a $3 raise pending in the next week or two, possibly $4. So that's good. The money's coming in right now where it's like, I have got more money than I've had in years, even though I had $20,000 more when I took the position up there. My wife wasn't working, so right now money's really good. And so I'm just trying to pace myself. Like the Integra is definitely coming. I haven't forgot about it while I'm doing this shit for the RSX. But it's like I was telling Shane earlier tonight, I'm so fucking close to being finished that's actually kicked a hard, lazy gear, and I'm so close to being done that it's like, oh, whatever, I can just finish it whatever I want, and that's kind of why I stopped. And a big part of that is because I have to go to the junkyard to get those bolts, man. If I had somebody I could go scoop the bolts up off of real quick, that'd be great. I'm not even 100% sure if the single cam T-bracket bolts are gonna hold this T-bracket to this transmission. I'm guessing that it will. That's the one thing I haven't had to deal with before. I haven't had to do that, so I'm not even 100% sure. But regardless, whether I'm unsuccessful with the T-bracket bolts or not for the time being, I'm fairly confident that I can get the starter bolts off a single cam and it'll work. I'm fairly confident. Hopefully, the distributor bolts I know are the same. So the distributor I can mount on, and I can do my fuel rail. And I guess I need to go get some fresh gas because that car's been sitting for like 2.5 years. So I'm gonna have to siphon out as much as I can and then put in the 93. So yeah, I kind of doubled the length of this video. That's why I wanted to put this at the end for Notification Squad, for you guys that really care about what's going on here at BHP Engines. And yeah, so I'm very happy right now. I'm super fucking happy. I got a large amount of stress has been lifted off my shoulders, and the only stress I'm dealing with right now is stretching myself to finish everything that I got going on. Look, you see that cage. The wife hasn't been shy reminding me that I bought when I shouldn't have bought it, because I haven't even put it outside and put it to use yet. I still need to organize my backyard. That shit's still a mess out there. I've still got a block that I need to tear down outside. It's not even much of a tear down. It's just a crank removal. And still got to pull the K20 swap. Still got to get the stuff. I got a lot of stuff going on. I'm only one person trying to find a balance of rest and work at the same time. But we are moving forward, and for those of you guys that want to see fast cars going fast on the highway or whatever, you're going to get plenty of that, because I promise you, once those cars are done and up and running, I'm going to be shoving that kind of content down your throat for a couple of months. Just because, I need to silence any of the doubters. Also, if you are, by chance, somebody who's watched me before, tried to communicate with me, and you got the feeling that I'm an asshole, well, I am a little bit of an asshole, but you just got to remember, guys, that conversation is kind of hard to, like, the way I would speak, like the way I speak on here, and if I take that same exact approach to text, it may seem like I'm coming off as rude, when really I may not be, because context is hard to get through text. Sometimes even I miss it. Sometimes, like, somebody said something sarcastic on the video the other day, and I was like, well, what the fuck are you talking about? And it was just like, oh, I was just kind of joking. I was like, oh, well, yeah, that's funny. So I don't, look, if you think I'm an asshole, or you think I'm stupid and you don't like me or whatever, I'm completely fine with that. But if you do enjoy what you see here, and you've asked me a question that I would consider fucking stupid, and you got like a shitty response from me, I don't want you to think I'm an asshole. I want to be cool with everybody. I don't want no beef with nobody. I don't want no rivalries. But the only thing I gotta say, man, is like, we're all adults here at the end of the day, and as much as I like to have you around and ask me questions or whatnot, I'm gonna check you on how and what you ask, or what you ask and how you ask it, because this is, get past the repetitive shit. Challenge yourself before you go to ask a question. Just, hey, check it. The kind of person. If you've been watching for a while, you're not just some random guy stumbling across and then immediately asking questions. You know how I am already. So just check how you're gonna be, and just temper down your expectations a little bit. I promise you that there's plenty of people here that I talk to that I've never said anything that pissed them off, and then there's plenty of other people that I have. A lot of people. I have a lot of friends now on my personal Facebook that I talk to on a regular basis that came from YouTube. So you can see that I'm not really a bad dude. You just if you're a naggy, needy person asking basic ass questions a lot, that's you're gonna get the asshole version of me. All right, guys. So that's it. Wow, super fucking long video. My bad on that. Thanks for watching, and peace.